I think we should just do a cold entry with this debacle. Dude, you don't know about it?
Uh-uh.
All right. So it is week 14, and I hit up my buddy Steelers for our game. And I think we advanced Saturday night? No, we advanced Friday night. He goes, Sunday's best for me. So, bam, Friday night, we've completely excluded the day of Saturday. It doesn't exist. Sunday comes around, I hit him up, and he doesn't get to me till halfway through the Eagles game. And he's like, I'm at my pop's house. I'm like, all right, that makes sense. It's playoff football. Spend time with your dad. Hit me up when you're home. He's a West Coaster, right? He doesn't hit me up. Then the next day comes around, Monday, Vance Day. And he's like, hey, man, I'm good to go after basketball practice. And then I was like, what time is that? He didn't hit me up. So I'm like, hey, dude, like, I was like, you got to, like, give me a time. Like, I'm not flexible. You got to, like, hit me up with a time so I can game plan around that. He goes, oh, yeah, after 8 Pacific Standard. Like, Vance is at 10 Eastern. Like, it's a whole hour after Vance. That was the only time you're ready. So it was cool. I don't normally like taking as many forced wins as I have taken this year from people not being able to schedule. I understand people are busy, but it's been a lot. But anyway, he says take the forced win. I screenshot it, send it to JT. JT forced wins the wrong team, bro.
Oh, yeah, I did see you complaining about that.
I didn't complain. I'm 12-1. I didn't complain. I was happy. Oh, I wasn't happy. I'm drunk right now. Off of that one shot, I'm already feeling it. I wasn't happy, but I wasn't mad. Does that make sense? Like,
Yeah.
It doesn't change the seeding. So it's cool. I got the Broncos with a forced win. I got the Jaguars and the Chargers with a combined like 8 wins on the season between the two. I'm going to be fine. I'll make playoffs. So it's not like this big old debacle. I'm not upset. It definitely helps that I was fucking toasted when I found out about it.
Yeah.
I'm way more like friendly when I'm drunk versus like if I was like frustrated at something. Now some people DM me. JT felt really bad. So to his credit, right? He felt really bad. He was like, dude, I feel like I should do something. He was like, should I give somebody star dev? Should I clear your cat? He goes, what do you want? And I was like, just fucking send me some nudes or something.
Wow.
But I don't need anything from him. But I think I'm not upset mainly because JT's a really good commish, right? And that isn't to suck up to the person because he's paying for the podcast. But it's really, is this bad that I'm about to say this? JT is not a top 5 user in the league. And I think that's great to be as a commish because it means he cares about the league. Does that make sense? Like for him, it's a lot bigger than winning. When you have a commish that wants to win so bad, I've had some horrible commissions, bro. Maybe that's what we should open this up. What's your worst commish story, bro? Like, what's the worst that you've ever had from a head commish? I had a PlayStation league. I'm gonna drop his name, Agent in Command. It's the gamer tag, right? I'll drop your name if you're a bad commish. And this dude would lose, right? I was a part of the commish group. He had a little commish group, but he had seen it as he's the end-all, be-all of the decision-making, but this is like his collaborative group. So he took a loss from a guy. He booted the guy instantly, no collaboration. So that was like strike one for me. Then he was like, hey, I've been looking back at my game, and I feel like the run blocking isn't high enough. And then he just changed his sliders. Like right after his game, he felt like one game was enough to tell him that the sliders were too low. So he increased run block sliders. And then one of the big rules he had stat-wise was you can't break a single season record until week 17.
What?
Yeah, so like you can't break an in-real life season record with a player until the last week of the season.
Okay.
The whole point of the rule is to stop people from smashing the records. Like you can beat the record, but you have to do it by week 17. You can't do it week 7. Well, anyways, he breaks that rule in week 14 with the receiver. He breaks a single season receiving record and then got upset when I wanted to like suspend his guy for all the playoffs. I was like, dude, this is your 3rd offense. You've already changed sliders. Oh, and then he played the CPU 4 times and didn't expect anybody to notice. So that's the worst commission I've ever had. The whole league quit.
Wow.
It's pretty bad.
Yeah, I've had a commish that it was Dominique Rogers-Cromartie, and it was the year after the regression all started. Like guys were dropping speed like 2 overall a year, and somehow we were like in year 3, and Dominique Rogers-Cromartie still had the same speed. And he denied it till the end, man. And it's like, dude, we all know, like, there's physically no way. He's like, well, maybe he was just playing. We're like, no. It doesn't matter if he's all pro, leading the league in interceptions. Like, we wish that it was like that. We wish that there was a regression rate based on, if a guy's not performing.
Right?
If you've got an old guy sitting on the bench not playing, like, yeah, he's going to regress. But if he's playing at an all pro level, let him keep his all pro ratings, right? But it's not like that. It's never been like that. It may never be like that. Hopefully one day, but as of right now, everyone's very aware that regression happens, and they fixed it a little bit this year where there's like that cap on it. But it was just one of those things where, and then we went through his roster, and once you have one of those little chinks in the armor, now it's like, okay, let's look at this trickle down effect. And it always seems like those kind of commish that are like, I'm going to win at any cost. They've gone through and they've edited things here and there to their benefit. So
yeah, it's the worst. It's really bad when you have a bad commish. And surprisingly, JT really being the only commish, there hasn't been any of that. I think from a constructive standpoint with the force loss that happened, once again, I'm not upset, but obviously the circumstances around that could change if I was a different user or if I was fighting for a playoff spot. Like, and we'll get into the playoffs here soon, but the Ravens and the Bengals are both at 2 losses. So if that happened to one of them, that could decide a division. It could be the difference between a bye week. They sit tied with 2 losses for the second seed in the AFC. So not only would a loss cause one of them to lose a division and have to play a wild card, but that's also, the bye week. They wouldn't get that bye week in the playoffs either. So they're losing the division and the bye week. So not something you want to see. So I think, if anything, from a constructive standpoint, maybe we could use a couple. I know Bucks really helped out a little bit with the commish work. Just somebody for a sanity check. Just be like, hey, before I advance, is there any force wins? Is anybody on to double check my force wins, make sure they're set right or whatever the case may be?
Yeah, because that is a lot to shoulder for one person for sure.
It is. So especially with how much he does with the rosters and the draft class and stuff like that. Like, it's tough. It's tough. But like I said, to his credit, I feel like he's got great intentions. So I'm not upset with JT. And I won't be receiving any benefits, any star dev to Tyreek Hill. Don't worry about that, guys. Let's hop into these playoffs, bro. We're at what, week 15, week 16? We're at week 15, so the push is here, okay? Let's go to the AFC. Despite the loss, I still sit on top. Tied at the 2 seed is the Ravens and the Bengals. Let's take a little bit look at the record and see, or not record, but their schedule here and see who has the easiest road. I know they've already played each other twice. They obviously split, as we all know. The Browns is going to play the Bengals this week. Let's see. The Ravens has already played, I believe. He played the Cardinals, and he won in a blowout. Then we have the Bengals is going to play the Steelers. So if the Steelers keeps his tactic of not showing up and getting force wins on accident, then there could be a problem there. What else you got? And the Ravens are going to play the Jets. So I feel like those are both wins. So this might come down to week 17. The Cardinals are going to go play the Bengals, and then the Ravens are going to play the Steelers. So, yeah, that doesn't look like there's much. So interesting to see what that tiebreaker is going to end up being. The Bills, despite their sub-in, what are your thoughts on that, allowing a random sub-in to come in? This is definitely a different league in that I've never seen it before. Normally it's just if you're not here, you can't play.
Yeah, I'll be honest, I'm actually okay with it. My buddies and I, there's like 3 or 4 of us that have been in leagues together for as long as I can remember, basically. And we have all logged into each other's PlayStations at some point. So we're all logged in and, we're all in these leagues. And we've definitely subbed in before and not told anybody about it. It's like, sometimes, especially because we all feel like we're equal level of play. So we feel like it's pretty fair. And you're actually at a disadvantage subbing in for somebody because you don't know the team as well as the person, the true owner. You don't have like that muscle memory of running through plays that work with your personnel. Like, especially after a year or 2 of a season, like you can't just play with this offline version of this team to get practice. Like you really have no idea. So it's kind of like a blind date with playing somebody. Like you don't know what they're going to do, but they have no idea what their team can do. So I think it's fair.
Right.
Now, if
Right.
it's like a ringer and you have somebody that's,
A
an
baller.
ex-pro or yeah, just some sort of top Madden, like professional, then they can come in and just manipulate the game. Then that's kind of unfortunate. But if it's just like an average Joe, like friend, like yeah, that's cool. I mean,
Yeah, I'd rather have a chance than nothing at all.
exactly.
And then people want to play their game, so I think
Yeah.
there's something towards that. Is you're letting another guy get to play his game and have a chance. So, and then a shout out to Mike for stepping in as the Lions and playing me in a game that I felt was a little bit closer than it should have been. It was 17-10, but once again, it's kind of a low risk game for him. Like
Hmm.
he could get stomped on and just be like, "Oh, but I was the Lions. I never play with them," and then he could
Yeah.
take risks because it's not his record. So
Yeah, it's kind of nice to get a game against a user like yourself to sort of experiment with some things that you might not be bold enough to try.
right. He holds the ball for a very long time. That's his game plan, was to try and keep me without my offense on the field the
Oh
entire
wow.
game, bro. Like the entire game, he was running it down to like 2 seconds. And I'll say it was pretty infuriating. But I mean, I'm not surprised though. Second play of the game, he ran
See,
cover
people
zero.
complain when I feel like when I do that.
It's frustrating, but it's football.
Well, they claim that you're running the clock, and it's like, well, I'm not. I don't have 2 clock on. I could put that on. That would actually probably make this more bearable. But like
I
if I have a big lead in the second half, like at this game I just played, I was up 24-6, and it's frustrating because it's like I can't run the clock down each play, but then the second half ends up getting dragged out,
right.
and so many more opportunities for like just craziness for Madden things to happen.
Right. I think in a game where it's close, I think you should be forced to run the clock down, like not chew clock, but have to. If you want to play that game, you got to sit here, and you also have to take forever. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah,
just
see, I've got
that's
patience
raw.
for days when, like, I don't mind. I'll sit there. My theory is like if I call a play real quick and I know I'm running out the clock and I'm just calling like conservative plays, once it hits that 10-second mark, like that's usually when I'll hike it. Like I'll let it run down 15, 20 seconds to get to that point, but like I feel bad bringing it any farther in. Like once it starts getting red, it's like, all right, you need to hike the ball now.
Right. I'm gonna peek here. Who has the current? Right now, actually, the Bengals hold the conference. No, that would be. We're talking about the division here. Let's see. They're both three. They both have one loss in the division. I don't know where the tiebreaker goes after that. I know when it comes to conference wins and losses, the Bengals actually have one more win or one less loss than the Ravens do, because the Ravens lost to the Bills and the Bengals. So I don't know, but that'll be interesting to find out where that tiebreaker goes. The Bills have already secured and won the AFC East.
Oh, nice.
So but they sit at 3 losses, so they will probably end up playing on Wild Card Weekend. And then the South is currently being led by the Texans, but it is in a tie with the Titans at 9-4. Let's see what the division looks like. The Texans are 5-0. The Titans are 3-1. So it looks like that may favor Houston there.
Wasn't Titans trying to leave that team too?
Yeah, he might be going to the Niners because he's a Niners fan in real life.
Yeah, I guess that makes
So,
sense. One more run here with this team. That makes sense.
right, we'll figure it out. Let's see. So that's the North or the West, the North, the East, and the South. The wild card teams look to be once again the Titans and the loser of the Ravens Bengals division. So that pretty much wraps it up. The Browns could sneak in if the Titans kind of struggles, loses out, and he wins out. But the Browns have some tough matchups, especially against the Bengals. So that really looks like to be the only person that really has a chance outside of the bubble would be the Browns. The Raiders possibly, but I think out of their 7 wins, one of them was an actual win. The rest were forced wins. So we'll see there. Let's peek over to the NFC side. We know who sits on top there. Main man Anthony, 11-2.
Killing it. I mean, it helps that 49ers dropped out.
Dude, he went and played a playoff game earlier in my
Uh,
other league, dropped 244 rushing yards.
wow.
Like, he's on
With
it. I
who?
don't know. Melvin Gordon for his
Hmm.
Titans. Yeah,
Oh wow, for the Titans.
he's one of those. I don't want to spend too much time talking about him, but he loads his team with running backs. So first year he traded all these folks away, and he had Melvin Gordon, Derrick Henry, and
Wow.
Tariq Cohen were his 3 running backs, and he just runs the ball game.
Oh, that's annoying.
Yeah, it's pretty unstoppable. So,
I'm glad he's gone.
yeah, he's a good player. I think so. He was in like 9 leagues, And
Damn.
I don't know why, but I keep
See, that's the
inviting.
type of person that
Right.
if you have somebody like that sub for you, that'd be like, all right, that's kind of annoying because I mean that's like he's playing way too much. Like he's too good at this game now. Like
Yeah, he's really, really good. He just, I don't know. He's younger. I think he's the kind of dude that would absolutely just like fuck around in a league that's a side league.
yeah,
So I think that, he was kind of out of it, a little burnt out on Madden. I mean, he still was playing well, but yeah, I don't know. Probably the last time I invite him to a league. That's all I'm saying. Because
I
this is
was
like the
really
third
salty
time.
that he picked up Olamide Zacchaeus off my practice squad and bumped him to running back. I didn't even think to do that, and then he
Oh,
like, jumped up to an 81 overall, and it's like one of my favorite players in the upcoming draft because I'm a big UVA guy, and he's a beast, dude, and he would be such a good little running back. But
get him for a trade in the offseason, a little low value trade. What's an 81 overall running back?
yeah,
If the Niners went out, depending on if they get a new user, they currently sit in the top of the NFC West. I don't see another player. The Rams sit at 7-6. So if he starts taking forced losses, Q can come back and win that division. But I don't see. I don't know if that Titans to switch to the Niners. I think that'll probably be his division.
yeah.
Giants and the Eagles look like they're going to be both wild card spots, which is frustrating. You'd like to see a couple of them lose out. The Packers sit at 10-4, but the Vikings are right behind them, so that's going to come down to the wire. And not only that is if the Eagles and the Giants, if one of them, are you playing any of them? Because if
I
they
played
drop,
Giants last week of the season, so I've
okay,
got to maintain my winning here. I can't
dude,
love
think
off.
about it. Think about it. I
I mean,
think
I'm not worried about the division as much because I think it
right,
would have to be. I don't even know if that's physically possible because
right.
we will. I think I beat him earlier this year. So,
Would you rather play him or would you rather play Mole? Because it might come down to that.
you mean in the wild card? Oh, I see what you're saying.
Right. Vikings are 9-5. Eagles are, or Giants are 9-4. So I think that depending on how it works out, you might be either playing your starters to get the Giants to play in, or I think if you win, you'll probably get the
That's what
Vikings
happened
in.
last year, and I lost Dak for the
Right. So you have a
playoffs.
decision to make. But if you lose, you might just let Giants in. So I guess it all depends on who you want to see in the playoffs and how much you want to risk a guy like Zeke and Dak.
Vikings has got a relatively easy schedule. Oh wow. Has this been Daddy Lee's been updated? Giants and Bills they haven't played yet,
Let me
right?
check. Let me check for Giants and Bills for you.
Because that's a big game. But if Rob's already gone, that's not as big a game.
Giants and Bills have not played yet.
And Rob is officially gone already.
I think he's back.
Oh, really? No, I thought I was supposed to have to play. I have the Bills next week after the Falcons, and I was supposed to have to play the sub guy.
No, the sub, dude. You missed it in the chat, man. Rob and the sub were going at it. They were exposing DMs, I guess, where they were talking on Snapchat. I guess he was saying
For real?
that Rob was telling him to like leave the game and just say like he got disconnected or something crazy like that. So I haven't
Wow.
explored it too much, but it was pretty bad, bro. They were going ham, and the guy was calling Rob a pussy, like on
Wow.
Snapchat. Yeah, just like multiple times, and I don't know. Here, I'm gonna read it. It says, "Oh, I'm gonna post this in a Madden chat. Oh my god, so I can laugh with losers. I was trying to get kicked. Pussy, 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 pussy. Your ass at Madden is what he said to Rob."
Damn.
um, yeah, bro. I don't know. Listen to podcasts, binge watch Madden School, look up nanos like all the other people. Loser. This guy's going ham on Rob. I goes, so why was this not a problem all year for me as I was leading with MVP voting with Allen? This is Rob talking. You just say you will only be home in the morning because I know he'll probably be working. This is what Rob is DMing this dude. Tell him you're only available in the morning, so he will probably be working. Then if he says yes, I'll just see if I can get someone to play. If not, just say something came up an hour or so before. Like, so this guy exposes the DM of basically Rob saying like work around the scheduling with this guy. Like say like you can't schedule, so we can maybe get a force win. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
So yeah, that's the downside too about these things is getting a guy in, especially a guy who's not vetted in the league at all.
Yeah, that's wild though, man. Like me, see, I don't know how close of friends they are, but I guess my buddies that we will swap with or whatever, sub in for, we're all pretty close. And like it's no hard feelings at all if somebody loses for you. Like
Right.
it's
Yeah.
like you're doing me a huge favor. Like I don't know who initiated this little beef between them, but that's kind of wild. That escalated a little quickly.
Right. Yeah, it's a little much for me.
Oh,
Little much.
Rob.
Rob conspiring to try and. I mean, you already won the
Right?
division, Rob. What are you concerned about, buddy?
Right? Jeez.
Um,
Rob's the kind of guy, he's such a great member of the league. But man, if he was ever my commish, I would have to quit that league
not
real
my
quick.
commish, bro. Get Rob out. See, that's the thing is we're over here trash like just straight up trash on Rob. But that's the thing is if a commish did have something come out like that, that'll kill a league. Whether he's
Exactly.
guilty or not,
Exactly.
that'll straight kill a league. Now many would argue that giving a force win to the wrong person could kill a league, but I don't think the intentions were there, and there's not a history of the bad, so I'm not too concerned about it.
And it's so hard though, man, because the temptation with the power and the accountability that Madden doesn't hold a commish by is like it's just so overwhelming. Like I'm in this league now, and it's just so I actually left the league where I was a commish because I was tired of dealing with all the excess BS, like the
Dude, it's
politics
tough.
of it all,
Dude,
like
it's very tough.
the cool kids stuff, like this one other commish like constantly accusing people of cheating, and yet I had found him cheating at the same time. It's like, dude, this is too much. But this league I'm in right now is actually pretty solid. It's a free league. It's the first time I've ever done a free league. And I found this one commish was clearing his cap penalties. And that's not something that people would normally check.
Right.
But because I have a friend in there and we talk in our own chat and stuff, he was asking me questions about his cap penalty or whatever. And I just stumbled upon, oh, look, these two commissions here have $0 in cap penalty. And we're like in year 3 or 4. It's like, how likely is that? You know, like,
Right.
and they the only two people in the league with even less than like 5 million in cap penalty at that point were two commissions. So I was like, all right. So I didn't like destroy the league and like let that information out. I told my buddy about it and I made a subtle jab at it in the chat. Like one guy was like complaining about his cap space and I was like, well, you could just always, clear your cap penalty and put like a little shrug emoji next to it. And it's little things like that that you can kind of do to take those jabs and let a commission know that you're on to him. But I never actually said anything to him about it. It's just like I don't want to destroy the league because of a guy not being able to manage his cap. Like, but I've got my eye on him now. So if I see any other
Right. You do it
funny
one
business,
time. I mean, you do one little thing, it all
yeah,
evolves. Like 7 year
clearing cap penalties. I
contracts.
mean, I've done like I said, I was a commission for like 3 or 4 Maddens, and I definitely cleared my cap penalties once or twice. Like, I get it. But it's
Gosh,
just one of those things that it's just unnecessary and it's one of those slippery slopes that you just don't want to mess around with because then everybody thinks you're cheating every time.
can't you just be fair? Jesus Christ. So let's talk a little bit about the matchups going on, and then we'll talk a little bit about some CFM rules. I want to get your idea and some rules. You said you were commissioned before.
Uh-huh.
And as we're getting towards the end of the season, I want you to kind of brainstorm here as I go over these last big matchups. Is what kind of rules do you think we could see hitting our voting system here in the off season, and making the league better, hopefully? So, big matchup. We have the Titans and the Texans head to head. So we talked about them being in a close tie for the division. This might sell it right here, record wise. Browns Bengals is another close one. The Bengals cannot afford a loss right now. Let's see. Giants Bills we mentioned before. That can, the Bills are in the playoffs. They don't have anything to worry about. They can play spoiler to the Giants, who are looking to get a wild card spot. If they end up beating the Giants, that might give Mole what he needs to sneak into the playoffs.
Yeah, he's got a pretty easy schedule here. So
Week 16 here. Scrolling down, Bengals Steelers, like we mentioned before, Ravens Jets. I thought it would be a big matchup between the Niners and the Rams. It might be now because Q needs to get back into the playoffs as soon as he can if they don't want a CPU team in the playoffs. So if he can go and beat the Rams, I don't know. They might just force win him. Let's see if Q is brave enough to take a sub in and play as the Niners versus taking a force win. Let's see how brave he is. Eagles Packers. That'll be an interesting one. User God versus big defensive team. I say that in quotations. We all know who the user God is. It's your boy. That'd be an interesting one. Who do you think? Packers, Eagles. Think
Um,
offensive cheese is too much?
I'm gonna go with Packers because I do respect the user, and I think that the Eagles running back will still be out. I'm not sure if he's still injured or not. But he's actually still been able to win despite not having his big beast of a running back, Jalen Hurd. Yeah, he's still hurt.
Right.
I'm not sure for how much longer, but it was a pretty good chunk of time when I knocked him out. I don't know. I'm gonna give the nod to the Packers just because of the user abilities, but I know that Eagles did a really good job of avoiding my user at all costs, and so he might be able to neutralize him by just not throwing it across the middle at all, which is it's pretty frustrating as a user middle linebacker when guys are able to do something like that. It does feel like it takes you out of the game, and you're just like running around with a chicken with your head cut off and not actually covering anybody in the middle of the field. So we'll see. It depends on Packers secondary really. Is he able to stop that deep ball? And some people can stop it with ease.
Right.
I feel like I struggle with it when
He's got a
I'm
fast
trying to
corner
play.
in Jaire Alexander. He's got a very fast corner in Alexander.
Yeah. So, oh wow, I didn't realize he had 95. So, yeah, I mean he's got the right guy to shut him down. It's still hard though, man. Sometimes you can scheme those guys and get them the ball. Right. And don't run cover 6, man. Just don't run that broken cover 6 because it's like you think it's going to cover what you need it to do, and it just does not.
Right. I don't know if it matches or whatever the case may be, but I've had a little bit of success with cover 6 invert, but I don't think I've ever used it as like a base. I just use it as one of those plays I have to throw in there to mix it up so people don't blame me for calling cover 2 all the time.
Yeah, and I hate that about it because it's like, oh, here, let me call this play that I know sucks. And I know that there's a high possibility that if they just read that it's a cover 6, they could be like, oh, like it doesn't take long after the snap to identify that. And all you have to do is be patient, and that deep zone just opens all the way up, man. Like I think the biggest plays that I've given up on average are always against the cover 6 or me running a cover 6. Like, and it's like you said, it's just trying to throw that extra play in there so you can say I didn't call 2, 3, and 4, cover 2, 3, and 4 all day.
Right. I try and mix a little bit of man in there, but once again, you're giving free slants and free digs away if you're running man.
Exactly. It seemed like they fixed it a little bit at the beginning of the year, but I don't know what has happened. It's right back to where it's always been. Super liability.
You have the Bills. It's not a high stakes matchup. You're a couple game lead on your division, so as long as you can win your let's see, have you played your Week 15 matchup? As long as you can win your Week 15 and Week 17 matchup, it's not the end of the world for you. And then Week 17, Ravens, Steelers, Rams against the new Buccaneers should be interesting. You have the Giants, which is probably going to be Trey's biggest game of the year. This might be do or die for him, especially if he loses this week against the Bills. Let's see here. Mole's got to win out.
I'd be starting Khalil Tate in that game.
The Texans-Bills will be an interesting game, especially pending how this Titans-Texans game goes this week. It could mean Texans is fighting for his potential wild card spot as well, or maybe even a division. And that seems to kind of take us into the playoffs. So interesting seeing how that's going to match up. So let's talk about rules. Hitting, that'll be our final topic here. Rules hitting, our little voting channel. I'm probably going to bring up Playmaker again. Not that I think it's an issue. I just think leagues are better without Playmaker. It's just my experience. Is there anything that's standing out to you that's really being an issue at all?
Not really. I mean, the Playmaker to me is kind of frustrating, especially because it's such a it's a gameplay rule that doesn't fit in with your typical CFM. So, like, for guys that are in multiple leagues, like, I've never been in a league where it's allowed. It's hard. I feel like I need to be taking advantage of it because it's there, and I see other guys doing it, and can be unstoppable in the right situation. But then I have to, like, switch back and forth from having that in my mind that I can't use it in this league, but I can use it in this one. It's tough, man. And I really don't have a problem with it other than the fact that if you use it more than once or twice, it starts to be a little bit cheesy.
Mm-hmm.
But if it is like a play breaks down and you're scrambling for your life, and you resort to that backyard football sort of style for a play, that's awesome. Like you can make really cool plays happen with that. But when it becomes part of your offense that you're like incorporating it in, like you're calling a drag route with the intention of, oh, well, if nobody gets open, I can use this guy as my drag route to bust this coverage open. That's when I have a problem with it. So it's one of those situations that it's such a slippery area, a gray area, because of people can abuse it if they are smart enough to abuse it. But then at the same time, it can be such a cool sort of playmaking play. So.
Right. I'd like to see something kind of limiting the amount of deep balls that people throw. Does that make sense? Am I being fair? Even though I have Tyreek, you got a lot of guys here that are. I mean, there's a difference between having a deep threat and a guy that you bring in and he's going to take the top off the defense. But then there's a difference between a guy having damn near 50 receptions and he's averaging 30-something yards of reception.
Yeah.
I know a league that I'm in used to manage, yards per catch. They say around the 23. I mean, obviously there's a limit, right? If somebody only got 11 catches on the year and they're the deep ball threat, that's a different. But if a guy's getting 50, 60 catches and it's just all deep ball and they're racking up crazy touchdowns, it's kind of an indicator that somebody's just launching deep balls or launching hot routes to this thing. And then speaking of hot routes, I could also see something where we're limiting some of the hop routes that are going on.
Yeah, that I could see. That's definitely one that frustrates me in a lot of leagues. When you look down at the guys like basically morphed his whole play into just this random assortment of routes with like 4 or 5 hot routes. Like that's absurd. It shouldn't be more than 2, 3 maybe once in a while, but like I try to keep it personally under 2 because it just feels like dirty otherwise. Like I don't know.
Right. Like we got some guys like Jalen Smith, Zay Jones, Demetrius Harris. These guys have 27 yards per catch, but they have 3 and 4 catches each. But then you got guys like Brandon Cooks, even Alshon Jeffrey. I mean, 2 players, Terry McLaurin. I don't mean to call the Eagles out specifically, but we have, 3 Eagles receivers over 22. Or not Eagles, Ravens receivers. And it's not an indicator of cheese, right? You can't just look at it and go, oh, these cheese. You don't know. Maybe this guy just breaks loose all the time. You know what I'm saying? Maybe, you look at the Ravens who's got, 500 rushing yards more than any other running back with Alex Collins at this point in the season. So it's pretty obvious that he can run at will. So you're bringing guys in the box. That might leave slants open if you're running cover 0, running man. John Brown's got the speed to break loose. So it's a little unfair to be like, oh, he's running cheese plays. But after a certain amount of targets, you would expect that number to be lower.
Yeah. See, and so what I was saying about earlier about running the clock down is that's just part of my style of play. I'm a lot more conservative. If I get a lead, if I get a 2 or 3 possession lead, like I'm straight grind it out. Like I don't care if I have to punt for the rest of the game just to maintain my lead. And then if something happens, like I'm going to now force you to win this game and I'm going to make sure I don't make any mistakes. But some people they prefer to keep their foot on the gas until 5 minutes left in the fourth quarter before they even think about being conservative. So obviously we have a top-level player here that is not taking his foot off the gas, and therefore, we're having score differentials of 50 to 20 in games and stuff like that. So that's just not my style. I'd rather win a 25, 27 point to 15 or so, somewhere around there. I know that'd be a super weird football score, right. But in those ranges and stuff.
Right. Yeah, I get what you're saying. I think that the goal is we're a new league as much as it is definitely one of the more active leagues that I've been in. And you got to constantly mold it. I got a league that bans, fullback dive and quarterback sneak, and it's not even relevant anymore. It's just an old rule. But not having those in the playbook just seemed to make 4th and inches that much more, harder to make the decision.
Wait, what do they ban? Quarterback sneak and what else?
Fullback dive.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That did become kind of an exploitable play, 2 seasons ago, 2 years ago?
Yeah. Yeah, a couple of Maddens ago it was, and that's where the rule came from, it was automatic. Yeah. It was automatic. You could just run fullback dive and get 6-7 yards at will. But once we took that out, now it just feels a little bit more strategic. And I think that those are the games that you enjoy, not coming out here and going, oh, great, now he's going to get fullback dive on 4th and 1, and I'm going to be, you know, there's nothing I can do without running like goal line, you know.
Yeah.
So those kind of things. On the defensive side, I know there's some talk about people not really liking moving players around or bringing safeties into the box. What are your thoughts on that? What are your thoughts on like moving players pre-snap and then switching back to your user? Do you feel like that gives any inherent advantage or?
It's so you're saying they're not actually using the safety; they're just bringing him into the box and letting him play like a
or
close.
bring in the nickel corner over a little bit
Yeah,
inside.
see, I'm okay with that too because like I've said before in the chat, you can't control all 11 players. You're literally controlling one, and you're trying to play as disciplined to your role or responsibility in the play that you called on defense. And you just have to hope. You're basically hoping that these guys that you've got in position are going to be in position and make the play based on attributes, but those attributes are hit or miss. Like it's so hard to calculate and figure out what a player is going to do. So if you have a style, like if that's your style, that means you're probably going to get burned over the top more often because unless you've got a super fast safety that can recover, like when I see people do that, I'm like, I'm going to get my speed guy out there on the outside. Right. And I'm going to just hope that he can beat your press or whatever you're running alongside of that. And I'm going to make you pay for that. Or, I mean, I'm going to run a deep post behind that guy and sort of hope to take advantage of that. See, I would actually prefer them to use that guy personally. So I can see where just pulling the computer there is kind of a weirder aspect of that. But it's not a user though. Now it's a, all Madden CPU that, like I said, you don't know what they're going to do. I feel like they make plays 65% of the time when they're supposed to. Like it's not a given that they're going to make a play. So it doesn't change anything other than their positioning. And it allows you now to change the way that you're looking at the field and trying to take advantage of it based on where they're at. Now your slants don't work. Now your posts work, something like that. Like I'm okay with those type of things. I've always been a fan of trying to limit the amount of rules there are and just make it to where if enough people complain about one certain thing that you're doing, then maybe you're doing the wrong thing. But I don't want to make it to where now I'm in your head. Now the rules are in your head and you're no longer thinking about just winning the game or playing your best game. You're now thinking, oh, crap. Like we said, we're calling bad plays. The rules are in our head. We're calling plays that we know are not effective in the game because we're worried about upsetting somebody else. Like, I hate that. Like, that shouldn't be the way that we're playing games. And a lot of people don't have that sort of moral compass while they're playing a game. They don't give a shit what the other person thinks or says. And those are the people that do manipulate and take advantage of those things that they probably shouldn't and kind of cheese. Like, that's basically what that is. And it's hard to find that balance of let's make sure that we're not allowing those type of people to take advantage of the game and beat people on a regular basis because the game is so flawed. I don't know. It's tough, man. There's no right or wrong answer, I feel like, with that. But I know that when I see somebody that's using a safety, I get kind of excited about it, actually, because I think, and this is my own arrogance coming out, is that I think I can beat them. But the people that end up usually giving me the hardest time, like offense is what I'm the best at. Like I suck at defense. The only thing I can do is use a linebacker. So when I see somebody else using the safety, I get excited. But the people that beat me and give me the hardest time are the people that are good user safeties because they can cover so much ground. And you think you can beat them by bringing the safety into the box, but they're able to recover. They're actually anticipating that you're going to try to do that. So it's just a part of the chess match, man. And
I don't want to make it cookie cutter. I don't want to make it where the best thing to do is to use your linebacker and da-da-da-da-da. Like, dude, if you can't beat the guys with speed, then maybe draft day comes, you need to not take best player available and maybe go grab you a speed demon at wide receiver.
That's what I did this year, man. Because
maybe you need to get somebody early.
Important, and the Cowboys have not had any of it for quite a while.
If you can't stop it, you got a game plan. Yeah, sure. Take that safety in the first round you don't need, or take a flyer on a guy that you know can come out and ball. And there are some fast receivers that are definitely going to go in the first couple rounds here, especially Hollywood Brown. So you can get your hands on something like that, you can start, like I've had zero issues with people running safeties in the box as Madden. I mean, obviously, as we've mentioned 1,000 times before, Tyreek Hill will erase that issue very, very quickly. For second play of the game, when Michael's Alliance, he ran cover 0, and he just gets toasted by Tyreek. I was like, Mike, you can't do that. Mike, you can't.
Yeah.
It's a problem. So I'll give a quick shout out here to the Redskins because he asked me to. Thanks for listening to the podcast. And thanks for, I guess, dude, so I've been saving the audio files. I've been keeping them the same name whenever Zoom saves them automatically, and then I upload them directly. But what that's been doing is Google Play's been registering that it all had the same file names. So it's been replacing the old podcast with the audio of the most recent podcast because they're all the same.
Wow.
File. So I didn't notice that. It doesn't happen for Spotify, Podbean, or iTunes. It's only Google Play. So thanks for pointing it out to me. Thanks for listening. I know it's fucking worthless talk. Patrick Mahomes is on the block. Hit my DMs in the offseason. Just throw that in there. And any final words? Is there anything you're excited for? Any changes and predictions? Do you think the Mole has got the NFC in the bag, as some people are saying in chat? Do you think you're still the favorite? I know she's got some words to say.
I mean, I don't, just because my record's the highest, I don't see myself as a favorite at all because
you've had 4 games against some really hard teams, though. You know what I'm saying? Like you're probably the most battle tested in the whole league.
Maybe
a division with. I mean, you've played Packers, you played Eagles, you played all the guys in that playoff spot at least once. Come out victorious in all but 2. So I think you're my favorite friend and also my NFC favorite. So
yeah, I mean, I'll be upset if I don't, but I also lost to the computer last year in the wild card round, so you never know.
This should be a free dub and a half for you.
I'm telling you, man, like
CPU.
Let's not talk about the scripts again. Everybody got all their feelings about that.
I don't care how good you are in this league. CPU All Madden is better than everybody in this league.
Well, I mean, they know what you're doing. Like they
know what you're doing.
They literally know the play that you've called. Like,
but I mean, I can do a little bit, right? Because I got Tyreek Hill, so I can bait the CPU into playing like stupid run defense. But I can't stop him. I can't stop him on the other side of the ball. Not the starters. It's just, I don't know. I hate playing the CPU. So
I saw a video of this one guy. He's like a Madden conspiracy theorist, like myself. But he plays the CPU on the regular. I don't know why he does it. I can't even think of his name right now. But he showed this series of playing the CPU where he was winning, but the CPU all of a sudden turned on like comeback mode. But it wasn't making it obvious. It was doing it like first down. It was like this horribly inaccurate pass somewhere. Second down, same thing, horribly inaccurate pass. Third down, some sort of ridiculous like spin around, like wasn't even facing the right side of the field. Right. Pass for first down, like right on the money, like over the defensive back, like, and it repeated that series of first down miss, awful miss, second down awful miss, third down money shot, like.
Right. I don't even know what to call against the CPU. It's just a joke. It's an absolute joke. So I'd like to see the league get filled. Welcome to the new members. There's a couple on the wait list that need to play, but on the plus side, at least we're getting kind of full. So this won't be an issue anymore. Broncos went ghost on me, so I have the CPU again. I'm definitely taking my forced win, which I will make sure is set correctly. No shade thrown there. So Mole's coming on next week, bro.
Oh, cool.
So that'll be interesting. We'll get to talk a little bit about his involvement with Madden. Talk about his season from his perspective, how he's thought the league has been, what his hopefully honest thoughts are on some of the talent here. I've yet to lose a game since joining the PlayStation side of the house in any league, in any head-to-head. I don't think it's bad, but I don't think the medium range users are even close to Xbox medium range users. You know what I'm saying? Now the skilled guys, I can't speak for that. I'll have to play you and we'll see. But right now, like the middle of the pack dudes in PlayStation leagues they rely too much on the the halfback wheel, the close halfback wheel, the bench, PA crossers, and they just get picked apart. So
See, I don't even use those plays, man. Like
I
not
can't.
because they,
I feel
not because
dirty.
that I feel
Oh.
like they're exploitable. I feel like I get exposed by them,
Hmm.
but I feel like when I try to run things like that I see other people running, it's usually an interception. Like I usually mistime it or something, or I feel like the halfback wheel. I don't trust that play at all, man. I can't tell you how many times I've misread a cover two or something. A DB just like zooms right in front of the ball. To are you talking about you use the halfback wheel to get deep?
What's up? Halfback wheel to get deep?
Yeah. Where you're letting the halfback just continue to run down the sideline.
I mean, it used to work back when the wheels were broke. Do you remember that? Do you remember when halfback wheels were broken and the linebacker would just run to the flat and then not follow the wheel? This was like
Yeah,
Madden
yeah,
16.
yeah,
It worked then. It don't work. It don't work now. You run halfback wheel by anybody who's remotely good, you're getting picked off.
yeah,
Like it's just not going to work. So I feel like it's so easy to recognize, and we've talked about it before when we did our user academy podcast. But it's just, dude, it's so easy to recognize what people are doing.
yeah,
Uh, Sometimes you have to, especially when you're playing a guy who uses a safety, you have to throw something weird at him because they're throwing something weird at you. You know what I'm saying? So you got to hit him with a crazy, find a play in the playbook that has a double move on it and throw them off because the people that are good at this game are, they know the route combos. They know if this guy's running that, then this guy's probably running that. And this,
yeah.
you're not going to get away with it. So throw something weird in there. You can't just audible a drag and hope that it works. Like, yeah, you'll get your drag. You'll get your 4 yards.
Yeah.
But you're not, when it comes to the red zone, you're not going to be able to score. You're going to throw a pick.
Yeah. And see, and so another thing, just one last thing on the whole, like the rules and guys abusing certain things. It really is all about just like making good reads, not turning the ball over. I see, you and Ravens are number 1 and 2 in turnover differential, and you guys are, both have 12 wins. So that's not a coincidence.
Yeah.
And let's see, the worst team with the best turnover differential is Cardinals at 6 and 8, but they've only got 10 turnover differential. Like they've still got 31 interceptions. Like you're not going to win games if you're turning the ball over, and like that's all it is. Like, I mean, it's hard because I don't know if all these guys are users, but the more interceptions you throw, the fewer games you're going to win. Like,
dude, you're not wrong. I think it's such an underrated thing. Like, if I get into if I got a 7-point lead and I get a big play and I'm sitting in the red zone, like people be like, well, why didn't you throw it? Like, I'll just run and take my field goal. Like, people are just not okay with taking red zone field goals at all.
Yeah.
Third down hits in the red zone.
Game to not do that, to not like have some bizarre interception where the guy just spins around and picks you off just because Madden feels like it, or you made it wasn't perfectly timed throw, so therefore Madden spins around and picks you off, and now you've just wasted. Now you went from having 3 easy points to 0.
Right, and you can sit underneath the route in the red zone so hard and still pick it off. And if you high throw, the safeties are right there. The safeties aren't going to back up out of the end zone. So what are you going to do? You know what I'm saying? You're still going to get a contested catch. Being okay with running halfback draw on 3rd and 6 in the red zone or inside zone is the game changer. Because chances are you're catching a bunch of DBs and just get away with your field goal.
So we were talking in the chat about Madden quote unquote liking guys more than others. And like, it's a funny way to put it, and it makes it sound, like I said, conspiracy theory. Like, but no, it took me a really long time to learn that I could do something like that. I remember playing a guy. We actually did it where the 3 guys I was talking about that I play with on the regular basis, we were all 3 in the same division for one of these Madden seasons. And the other guy that jumped in, he actually thought he was really, really good. He like led the league in lurks and stuff all the time. And he was super, super conservative. He actually wanted to be in our division because he thought he would be able to take advantage of us because he didn't respect all of our game or whatever. Mm-hmm. We learned, or at least I did, I learned so much about being more conservative from playing him and watching him and seeing how he would make like the weirdest play calls, like the Seahawks against the Cowboys the other day. I don't know if you saw that game. Seahawks refused to pass the ball. It made no sense. They got Russell Wilson, like, pass the fucking ball to give yourself a chance to win. But in Madden, when you play so conservative like that, they do tend to just like give you these bounces. Like,
I feel like you really get favored by being patient.
Yeah, it's what it is. You just got to be patient and wait for those moments. You're waiting for the other guy to make that mistake, to not be patient, to pull the trigger on a pass that's a 50-50 ball. He knows it's a 50-50 ball, and Madden, makes him pay for it. Like, You
Right.
just got to be patient and wait. And a lot of times I struggle with that still because I like to be aggressive in the passing game. I like to fit
Right.
it into small windows, but every year Madden closes those windows a little bit more. And if you are testing them on a regular basis, if you don't know when to test them and you're just testing them all day, like you're going to pay.
I agree with you. I think that's the Madden tip of the day from Anthony is be fucking patient. Here's another one, right? If you're struggling on the goal line, turn aggressive blocking on.
See, and I don't mess with any of those
Right.
anymore.
I don't. But that recently is something I saw happen in another league, and I've been doing it. And man, I scroll. The play just isn't long enough for the holding to take effect because it's like a holding anytime the play's longer than 4 seconds.
Yeah.
I'm on the 2-yard line and I run aggressive blocking, play's not going to last long enough for that. And it just
See,
helps so much.
I was excited about those coaching adjustments, but I felt like
They're bad.
yeah, it felt like every time I would tweak it one way, it would just expose the other side of things. Like, I like the balance. I like it to be right in the middle. The only thing that I use in those coaching adjustments is the cornerback matchups based on speed or overall and sometimes height.
But I still
But
can't tell, like, Greedy Williams, you're on this dude all day. Like, I still can't do that. It just seems so asinine. Like, that's all we wanted.
well,
Was
I mean,
to
and
say,
that's why you've got to use it. You've got to do a little scouting beforehand and know like, okay, this guy's got a 95 speed receiver that he's using all day, but he's only 75 overall. So you're going to have to base it on, you're going to have to figure out how your guys match up to their guys and set your lineup or set your coaching adjustment to sort of fit that. And you might not get it the best way that you want every time. There might be substitutions or whatever, but for the most part, I find more success in defending the pass when I use the cornerback ones. But when you do aggressive on the pass rush, once a guy figures that out, every time you're on 3rd and short, they're
hard count. Hard
fakes.
count,
Yeah, they're doing a
man.
fake hard count, and you're getting a free first down. Like,
Right.
anytime you do the aggressive, like forced fumble or whatever, you're getting tackles broken all day. Guys are busting off 80-yard runs on you. Like, I try to keep those things. I don't want them conservative either, because then my guys will never make that extra effort and make a play. So I just keep them neutral because I don't. I just want balance. I don't want Madden being all Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde on me one way or the other.
Right. I got a guy who does this. Anytime somebody on the team that, like, if he's on defense, anytime the offense gets a false start penalty from the guy hard counting, he instantly goes and turns on his aggressive pass rush. Because obviously the guy just got a penalty, so he's like, oh, I don't want to do that again. And that gets him like 2 to 3 plays worth, if not more, of aggressive
Oh, nice.
pass. Right. But I caught it on stream. I'm about to play him in the NFC Championship tomorrow. So I'm going to like put my guys on like aggressive out the gate and like, or on a close down, you know what I'm saying? Like that, and get one and then catch him, you know? Like when you turn on aggressive, you're susceptible to the run. So I'm going to call it, get a flag. He's going to like turn to aggressive, and either I'll get my 5 yards back by hard counting him again, or I'll just run the ball into his defense. You know what I'm saying? Like that's why I'm kind of excited, because it's not even going to watch it not matter. Watch me fumble. Like all those guys play and fumble. Madden's against me, but
See, I do think you can use it in like short bursts, but some
Yeah.
people, as soon as they log in, as soon as they load up into a game, they go and they tweak all these settings to what they think that are going to get them the best advantage throughout the game. And sometimes it's going to work, but I don't like that extra intervention in the game. Like I want as little intervention from the computer as possible. And I'll turn it on maybe, like you said, to start a game. If it's a big game and I feel like I'm outmatched or I'm playing a really good user or something, and I think that I can take advantage of something, maybe turn it on for a brief moment, a drive or two. But like some people just leave it on for the entire game, and I don't even know how they do that.
If I have to kick the ball to start the second half, I'll normally turn it on just to like, you know, especially in a close game. If I need to turn around and if I can get a quick turnover and set the tone of the second half early, that'd be great. So that's something I'll do. But
Good to know for all the AFC guys. I feel like
dude,
if people don't listen to
smoke
this,
screens, bro.
AFC
It's
and
all
like,
smoke screen, dude. It's all
oh,
smoke
okay.
screen, bro. I don't do none of that shit. Listen, y'all know the offense. Just gonna run with Kareem Hunt and throw the ball deep to Tyreek. There's nothing new. There's nothing new about it. Okay. I got nothing special. I got nothing special at the bag. I'm running cover 2. Just don't throw the Anthony Hitchens. Dallas's finest, bro. Wasn't he a Cowboy? I'm pretty
Yep.
sure he's a Cowboy. So I know you're happy about it. So
He's a solid little player.
all right. Well, we're excited to have Mo on next week. Gonna be interesting. Gonna kind of prep a little bit because I know he's got some good insider info. So yeah, Thanks for joining me, bro.
Yeah, man. Thanks for running things.
Dude, I smell my BO right now, and I need to take a
Awesome.
shower. This whole time I've been sitting here where you're talking, I was like, oh my God, like it can't
That's
be
a
her.
horrible
It's got to be
feeling.
me. So, yeah, I'm glad I'm alone. So, yeah, I'm going to go clean that up, take another Jello shot. And, and I'm a
That's
Georgia
awesome.
fan, so I'm going to go rewatch that national championship, bro.
You should go watch that Texas game. I'm just kidding.
You can go fuck yourself.
That was
Hey,
all. I mean,
hey,
that was like the biggest win for Texas in like a decade.
10
So
years since Vince Young, bro.
since Colt McCoy went down to Alabama, like
Well,
in the
that wasn't a
national
win.
championship game.
That wasn't a win for Texas. So that was the biggest win was USC, Texas.
Oh, I got you. I got you. Yeah, yeah. I mean, just like the biggest, like we haven't had any kind of like monumental games or anything of value to really. I mean, I guess the Oklahoma Red River shootout earlier this year was kind of the
What was
first
that?
glimpse.
Remember y'all had this big old boy, bro, at quarterback. Not the current guy. It was like a year or so ago. You had this tank of a rushing quarterback that would come in and just bulldoze. I know he had this Sam Good or whatever his name was, but
It's not, talking about Ellinger. That's kind of how he plays too.
this dude was black. I didn't want to say it, but this was
Oh, yes. Wow, what was his name? 17. He was only a senior though, and he just came in just to do that. I can't remember his name.
I respect a bulldozer.
Yeah.
Change it up. So, yeah, Georgia don't have any excuses. But this isn't a Georgia Bulldog podcast, so I'm going to save my thoughts.
It's all right. If people are still listening to this point, it's just they love the sound of your voice and that staticky nonsense that's going on right now over there.
Some static. Oh shit! It was topping out. All right, that's a little bit better. All right, man. Well, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna take a shower, take another Jello shot, and cry myself because one loss is the end of the world for my Kansas City Chiefs.
All right, man.
All right, see you next week.
See you.